And I think
Mm-mm.
particularly with Robin Hood, and we'll start our discussion here. This is not what I was expecting as a Robin Hood show, but I'm okay with what I've seen so far. It is a bit melodramatic for my liking.
Yes.
Robin Hood is a bit whiny, but I think he's about to go on the journey. I think
Yeah.
that's literally what, like, that's the end of episode 2 is literally him embarking on a journey with a major inciting event.
Yeah.
And we can spoil it because no one's ever going to watch this show. We can talk about it.
Okay. Full spoilers. Full spoilers. Light us up. Light us up.
Coming in hot. Usually somebody hits the banner when we. There we are.
There we are. All right. Full spoilers.
Push the
This
button.
is not your father's Robin Hood show.
Nope.
Hands down. They have changed the lore,
Yep.
which they are keeping it true to the setting, though. Unlike that stupid Robin Hood that has Jamie Foxx in it.
It is set in Harlem, but that's neither here nor there.
It's set in London, but
I was talking about Robin with a Y hood.
yeah, they had a fully automatic arrow shooting gun. Like
Dude, I haven't
it
seen
had a
that one.
crank.
I was like, it was a Gatling bow. How would that even work?
I don't know because there's no way he
With
had
pressurized air,
strings. Yeah,
no strings. Yeah, I don't get it.
like
We're not siege engineers, so I mean, maybe it works. I don't know.
you had guys
Doesn't
walking
work.
in with their bows drawn, SEAL Team
Right.
6,
Right.
clearing corners and doing modern room clearing techniques with bows and with a bow, not even
With
a
a longbow.
crossbow.
No, with a
Yeah,
longbow.
with a longbow.
Right. Imagine one of them throws in like a bag of powder and it goes off like a flashbang and then they breach.
Yeah,
And done.
I was waiting for that. I was
Yeah.
it was so
Just
bad.
Right around the corner, boom. Dudes drop swords. They can't see shit. I don't know. I'd watch that.
Yeah, it started
That's not
off
this show.
it started off
That's
with
not this show.
a narrative over, and it's like, forget all the Robin Hood stories that you know. It's
Usually
like,
not a good sign.
nope, nope.
Usually not a good sign.
But this one starts off with a different twist where it's pretty much the Norman invasion, and they've taken over all of England. But you still have the Saxons. This is before they were Anglo-Saxons, because that's
Right.
when they start breeding with the Normans and they became the Anglo-Saxons. If you know your history, they were just straight Saxons at the time, which are more of a pagan-based rural community, family tribe type. Like the families usually stayed together and had their own like city type thing.
Right. Yeah, it's a change in lore, but from my starting point with the show to get into it was my frame of reference outside of being culturally aware of who and what Robin Hood is the like 1972 Disney version. It's like that's the Robin Hood story that I know. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Clearly Disneyfied, clearly just drawing characters from the legend, the original tale, whichever. So I know some people I saw online were upset that there's the change where Robin Hood's no longer like a good Christian kid. He's not rocking the crucifix. They're laying into the more his pagan background that opposes Christianity at a point because that's what the invading army brought in. So that they made some changes there. I'm okay with that. It's a 1,000-year-old story. You can do that when something is that old. You can make some kind of changes there. Like it's when you've been in the public domain 900 years. It's not like if I took the book you just finished and changed 40% of it and then laid it out as a remake the next year. You know what I mean?
And the other thing is that it is historically accurate because that is what happened. They did have their own, and then the Normans came in and brought their religion with them.
Right. So I'm okay with however version this is, however different this version is than Prince of Thieves in like the 90s. Men in Tights, not really historically based at all, but probably the best Robin Hood movie ever made. Review still pending. We need to do that. Or, any of the other stuff that's come up over the years, like the one with the Sons of Anarchy guy. Russell Crowe did one. It's like there's a dearth of these movies out here. But this show,
Son of Anarchy, that was King Arthur.
You didn't do a Robin Hood one too? Didn't we just
No, that was a King Arthur one.
Retract. I remember that. Oh, that's right. That was him. All right. This show here. I don't know if you've watched Shogun. I want to because I haven't watched Shogun, but I get the feeling this is probably similar. Like they take their drama seriously.
Yes.
They take the writing is good. The dialogue's a bit a couple, like it's not perfect, but it's at least serviceable. Like nobody flops. Like there's nobody's mailing this in. I think actually the actor that's playing Robin Hood or Rob of Sherwood or whatever he calls himself in this one, he's not Robin Hood yet. I
Yeah.
think that's like he's gonna
He's
become Batman at the
he
end of
was
the show.
He was Rob of Locksley
Of
or
Locksley, right,
Robert of Locksley.
right, and he changes
And
it to Rob of Sherwood.
Sherwood, yeah.
So I think he's gonna become that legendary figure by the end because he kind of starts off as, like I said, like a little bit of a whiny bitch. But I think the actor, as I was kind of reading up on cast a little bit, like I think he's generally a newcomer. Like I don't think he's been in a bunch of stuff. And I think it kind of shows because when you match him up with like Sean Bean and the actress that's opposite him playing Marian, I'm like, dude, Marian's great. Probably my favorite character, just like the portrayal of like the virginal princess archetype who's a little timid but like undercover, she's a little defiant and knows some shit's not right.
Yeah.
And I think she's absolutely killing it through the 2 episodes I've watched. And he's not bad, but he's not great yet. I don't know if that's like they have to have him lean into the whole you're a poor farm boy who happens to be good at archery, but you're not a hero yet. You're just angry. Like maybe there's a direction thing there. I don't know, but I'm not impressed with him yet.
I think that that's a good take on his performance. Of course, Sean Bean is Sean Bean. He's killing it as the sheriff.
Clutch.
Yeah. I also like the guy who's playing Marian's father. Like that
Huntington,
is
yep.
Yeah, he is like
bastard.
The brute.
Yeah, he's a bastard.
Yeah.
Dude, he done fucked Robin up too in episode 2. He threw that throat punch like he threw it a couple times. You know what I'm saying?
And
Dude,
he straight sold that.
that
That was straight selling. He did pretty good in the action scenes where he was the fist fight scenes where he didn't have to show emotion.
Yeah. Well, because I mean he does like he does sorrow and mournful pretty good. Like when his father, I mean, spoiler alerts, we're gonna spoil the hell out of the show.
Yeah, we already put the banner up, so we're
I
good.
know. I'm just repeating it. When his father is executed, he sells a decent range of like, I'm shocked that this is gonna happen. Now I'm crying, or I'm angry. Now I'm crying. But then that resolution that comes at the end of that first episode when he reopens his eyes, you're kind of like, okay, all right, like the spark was born here. There might be something heroic might be stirring in you. You're not going to accept this as an outcome.
Yeah. Now,
but I think that just opposite Marian, he's just a little weaker than she is performance wise.
Yeah. So I don't know how much time passed between father dying and mother dying, but I went back to Robin Hood Men in Tights, and it was like, what about my sister died of the plague? It was like
my dog.
It was like my goldfish ate by the cat.
Eaten by the cat.
my cat Dodo choked on the goldfish.
Choked on the goldfish. And then the castle just gets up and put on. And this just became a Men in Tights review. A breakdown. It totally did. And the castle gets up and gets repoed. That shit's hilarious.
Yeah.
They don't make movies like that no more. But this show, speaking of castles being moved around,
how much like that castle could be? That looks like that castle could be moved around like Legos.
But I like it because I feel like I don't know how much green screen or volume or whatever they call it that they're using, but I feel like there's just real people doing real stuff in places. Mm-hmm. And that feels better than the Acolyte. You know what I mean? Where I just know it's you, me, and the Oracle in a room, and someone's directing you to be like, the window's over here, so make sure you're looking that way. And then you're talking to a robot that's over here, but not really. You know what I mean? I feel like there's things happening. Like the only thing that stuck out is all the stuff with the deer. Like clearly CGI, like as they just move a little. You can tell it's like with Uncanny Valley, not quite real, not quite the right weight, the right move, but like it's for like 2 seconds.
Yeah,
what do you want to do?
Yeah, the
hunting scene for 2 seconds.
Yeah, the deer at the end of episode 2.
That was solid. Oh no, the deer at the end of episode 2, but the one he doesn't shoot earlier on when it bolts, during the hunting expedition where they catch the poachers. Like there's deer in several places. You know what I mean? And they don't. The only one that ever looked good was Adric. Like when his father was telling him the legend. Dude, let's talk about the legend stuff, dude. I like some of the it's all very Dungeons and Dragons to me, as disrespectful as that might sound, but I like pagan backstory in these kind of settings because it feels authentic. Like it's the stuff that I know exists here, which is one of my favorite parts of the show. And I don't care if this is controversial or not. I like watching a show set in 1162 that has people that look like you in it. There would not be like that world would not look like downtown New York City today. And that's all right. It's okay. And I'm tired of people not being okay with that.
There were Normans and they were Saxons. That's who lived there at that time.
Dude, not a bustling like crossroads of diversity in 1162. Like most people lived and died within 2 miles of their home for like 500 years. You know what I mean? Through the Enlightenment into like the modern era. You know, you didn't just jump on the internet or book a plane ticket. Like, and I'm okay with that because like when I watch, like, to call up Shogun again, when I watch Shogun, I'm okay with there being 99.9% Japanese people. Good. It's supposed to look like that. If we did a show out of Brazil if we did Apocalypto, the show, bunch of fucking Brazilian people or wherever that was set in South America. That was, that's, you know what I mean? And then of course you have colonizers that look different because that makes sense. You wouldn't have a Chinese shaman living amongst them from fucking 4,000 miles away. That wouldn't happen. This show has nailed their vibe. The other thing I noticed too, they didn't pick, outside of the two young female leads, because they're both very attractive. I'll just say that. And the fairy queen Gata, very attractive. Everybody else is kind of normal. Like Will's a little pretty, but like all the older matronly wives, they don't lay on the makeup. They're not laying on a bunch of filters. They're just like natural people. And that sells the vibe of like 1162 peasant life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you wouldn't have a flawless complexion. Just lost the light. I hit the desk too hard, lost the light. Boom. Reset. Anyway, brighten that because my head's starting to hurt, but still. So the vibe of the show was solid. I don't know if you wanted to add anything to that part.
No, I think what they're doing is keeping it true. Now, I think some of the background need a little bit more direction than just stand there and spike the camera. If you don't know what spike the camera means, is looking straight down the lens.
There's
you don't
a lot
do
of
that as background.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
A lot of the background shows not much life.
Yeah,
so
I'll give you that.
I think they need a little bit more direction there. Like I mentioned, I think the biggest error, and my wife pointed out while we were sitting there watching it, it cuts to like Nottingham, and it says England. It's like, wow, England like has nobody living in it right now.
So they're allowed to flub one, and maybe that one just made it by their Filmora editor or something. I don't know.
That one should have said Nottingham because the whole thing's set in England.
Yeah, but I like. Let's just touch on the story briefly. Saying it's obviously a revenge tale. Robin's father is a forester for the king, thrown off his land when the Normans conquered. So he was trying to regain title. You know what I mean? Bad shit happens because his rival that ended up taking his land put the hit on him, politically speaking. Although it was kind of indicated because he did actually let some poachers go, but still. Ends up, Sean Bean ends up Ed Starking Rob's dad, which was kind of some shit. And then we're on this revenge tale now that's starting to pick up some familiar plot threads from like the Disney stuff. Like he's going off to town to be in the archery competition so he can get the job, so he can get closer. And you can kind of see where it's going a little bit. I thought, and I was dead ass wrong, because they Game of Thrones to me on this one in episode 2 at the ending. I thought they were building up that captain of the guard guy to be like Little John or something. Honest to God. I thought that's where it was going. And then nope. Nope. Not at all. Nope. Out, gone, done. And I'm like, oh crap. So this is that show too.
Oh, that wasn't that wasn't the captain of the guard that he shot.
Yes, it was.
That was the guy that was in the prison who was supposed to knife his dad and didn't.
That was Lurch? Didn't he die?
No. He was released for trying to kill him because that was the deal.
My bad. Then he looks dead ass like LaForce, and the other chick's boy toy.
Yeah.
Like the same height, same build, same stupid goatee. I'm like, oh, that makes sense that he might have done that. And he would have been with him doing security. It might have been one of the guys that took Loxley into custody.
Because they were talking about Loxley, that I had him push against the wall and I was trying to knife him. Like that was the conversation he was having. That's what he heard.
Maybe I dazed out on that then. All right, never mind. They didn't Game of Thrones him. Never mind. Cool. They're still working.
That was Lurch, and he freaking nailed that dude from a distance.
Dude, center mass, ran him through with an arrow, and then the thing I'll say about Robin Hood, he don't run well. He's got like this kind of spindly, gangly thing that he does, like one of those inflatable air things outside. Yeah, run away, like outside, like a used car dealership and shit. Oh, here we go. See, Oracle says I really thought that was the captain. Also, dude, that's what I'm saying. All these white guys look the same to me anyway. That's just how it is. But but that also, I guess that does make kind of sense because he basically goaded Robin into taking a shot at a deer at range. He's like, yeah, but if I shoot it, then because I thought he meant if I hit it, you're gonna fucking arrest me. So if the setup to that whole exchange was like, You're gonna bet me to do it, but then you're gonna book me if I do it. Like, I'm not gonna do that shit.
Because he was the other poacher, and that's why he was like, "Get out of here." He's like, "Do you know what you just did?"
Good point. Good point.
If he was the captain,
anyway.
if he was the
just
captain,
arrested
you
him
would
on the spot.
have just arrested him on the spot.
All right, true that. I'm gonna default to all the white guys the same on the show then.
No,
Dude, let's talk about Sean
English.
Bean though before we move on. You and I had a discussion about the Sheriff of Nottingham spinoff or something. We were just like shooting the shit like we do, right?
Yeah.
And how if we did something focused on him, what would it be like? I would do like they're doing here because he's not a mustache twirling jackass of a villain. He actually thinks he's enforcing the law fairly, judiciously, giving mercy when and where he could, but understanding his place in the pecking order is he's not the king in sitting. Like there's the king and then there's this dude and that's it. And it's the king's will, the king's law.
There's the king, there's the duke, there's a whole bunch of dirt. Then there's some crap. Then there's me.
and you're 50 feet below that, Robin of Locksley, just so we're clear in the pecking order.
Yeah.
But he's definitely not going the Alan Rickman Prince of Thieves version, which is great. Because Alan Rickman owns that version of the character. So if this dude was talking about cutting out hearts with a spoon, because it'll hurt more. Like you can't do that. Yes, that's taken.
Dagger, my cousin, because it's dull, you twat. It'll hurt more.
That's so good.
And cancel Christmas.
And cancel Christmas, dude. Can we review that and Men in Tights in the same night? That should be a double feature. New
Robin Hood night.
new playlist double feature. Might have to be a thing. But yeah, I think that Sean Bean's doing his thing. Will Gamewell, his cousin, Rob's cousin, his dad, also doing his thing as like the patriarch of the family, keeping the boys on the narrow. He's gonna die without a doubt. The dad.
Well, I mean, it's
one more piece to fall.
Oh, the dad, yeah.
The dad, yeah.
And that's what will make Will become Will Scarlet. So that's who he's portraying, Will Scarlet.
Facts. Yep. That's common. And the actor is just so likable that like when he dies, it's gonna be like a absolute gut punch.
He's gonna be the guy on the inside feeding Robin information when he becomes the Hood.
The Hood, the green hood. Just flip the green hood up for the rest of the stream if I can get it over the. There we go.
There you go.
That doesn't look right. Losing it. Hold on. But yeah, I'm surprised, dude. I thought this show about 10 minutes, 15 minutes in, because they open with an action scene, and then it's drama for a good long amount of time until the forces of Nottingham and Huntingdon start doing we're a bunch of scumbag kind of thing. They're doing lords and peasant shit. Like they think they're right. The peasants know they're right. But like I get both sides. The only one that's kind of cartoonishly dickish is Huntingdon. But even his captain of the guard, Bernard, not a dick, just on the payroll.
No, just doing my job. Doing my job.
You know, Bean's daughter, the sheriff's daughter, kind of a slut, but still feeding Marian information and not a total dick.
No,
you know, it's really
I think she's going to have a bigger play coming later than usual. I think she's going to have a much bigger play. But you were talking about the sheriff and doing a spinoff of Sheriff. The reason why he's not the same character as the Alan Rickman sheriff, because this is set as a different story. Remember, the Alan Rickman sheriff was set off of the original Robin Hood lore, where King Richard is off in the Crusades. Prince John was taking care of everything, and the sheriff was like his right-hand man to make sure he bled everyone dry.
Right.
This one is just doing what he's told to do and doing what a noble of a land is to do. He is the sheriff. He is to administer the king's justice and the king's law.
The king's taxes. Yep.
So he's not. And when you come into a bad guy, like following him, like we were talking about this, like doing like a whole movie where you follow the bad guy and doing it from that point of view, is that the bad guy has to believe he's the hero of his own story.
Yep.
And which is how you would do it.
Which is tough, dude, because like we talk about all the time in our own projects, our villains, we like to write them to be badasses and kind of sympathetic to a point. But that's when they're still just the antagonist in the story. That's kind of easy. When you make them front and center focal point, there's really only the one story you get to tell, and it's Maleficent, it's Wicked, they're so front
And
and
I
center.
think there's so much more you can do than that.
Right. Oh,
Instead
I
of
agree with you
making
100%.
the lovable
Yep.
villain, I think there's so
I was
much you
just
can do.
misunderstood, bro. I was just misunderstood.
No, I don't want misunderstood.
No.
I'm doing my duty. It might
Right.
make you upset as a person who is beneath me, but
Right.
it's not. But I may live. I might work. You might
Yep.
live beneath me, but anything I do is there's nothing that's beneath me to do.
Facts. Exactly right. And I think the people that can't accept that in a show like this just don't understand that like history works this way. You know what I mean? This is actually, I would say, I'm not a history expert by any stretch, but this is authentic to how lords and peasants lived for, I don't know, 1800 years of recorded history,
Yeah, and
you know, till
it's
capitalism
true
picks
to
up. So,
how they treated the Saxons and how they took over and like they took them out of their their took over their land and took their titles and handed it to their own. And then yes, they were right. Some was handed back to the Saxons, but those were the
yep,
Saxons that bent the knee.
bent the knee. Yep. I like seeing that too, because I think that as story branches out into more than Rob's quest for revenge, and I think we're going to get a lot more than that, because that would seem really Disney Plus-ish to me. Like we're only going to follow this one thread. I think we're going to be beyond that, because they were obviously setting the table with the sheriff's daughter and Captain LaForce. They already set up both the vengeance angle and the love affair with Marian. We have like you said, who's going to become Will Scar and is going to have his own subplot. There's a lot to chew here. You
Yeah.
know, I think the only thing I don't like so far is I think there's elements of these first two episodes that do feel kind of rushed, like you were saying. Like his dad's executed, mom dies of a broken heart like 10 minutes later, but then also they're talking about like seasons changing and like we got to chop enough wood for the winter, and it feels like more time has passed. But then there's a carnival coming through, so it's hard to keep track of that stuff. But then also compressed is the Rob and Marian love affair. Like I get the whole love at first sight thing,
Mhm.
but they lay into it really quickly in like 2 or 3 scenes. Then he's like, "Hey, I've got all my money. Let's run away together." And I'm like, "All right, maybe this is like an episode 4 thing for me," but I don't know. That
Well,
felt rushed, but I know that's a nit I'm picking. I
yeah.
100% know that.
And if you
100%.
want to go true to the lore, if we're going back to that again,
Yeah.
is that if you're not married by 19, you're
Yeah.
considered an old maid
Right. Right. And
at that point.
she's a woman of position that she's definitely going to be like betrothed, and dowry will be
Yeah.
in play, like it was hinted at here. So I mean, I get that, but
He
and again,
made that play too. He's like,
he did, dude.
he's like,
He was the
either I
noodle,
give live or this could be her dowry.
and
Just let us
then he got
go.
punched in the throat, though. Just to be clear, he did get
With it
punched in the
in
throat
his
and robbed.
hand.
Right? He got robbed and got
Yeah.
punched in the throat. But he did land a couple shots, but that dude laughed at him.
Yeah.
He did not get. Rob did not come away winning that fight. Fact.
He's the guy who needs the distance. It
Yeah.
was like what I said when I was in the army. The army gives me a rifle for a reason,
Yeah.
but they were trying to
So
teach
I
us
don't have to punch you.
combatives where we have to wrestle. And I'm like, if it ever got to the point where I had to wrestle with
Done.
the
Toast.
enemy, we've
Right.
lost.
Yeah, toast. I should have shot 30 of you on the way over.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the only that's the nittest of pick I have here for a show that runs an hour and leans heavily into drama. At least it's compelling enough to keep me actually watching and not dozing off.
Yes. I enjoyed it.
I'm
I did enjoy
pleasantly
it.
surprised.
This will keep us entertained into the new year. It's a
I'm
10
on board
episode
now.
run.
I know, which means we have to pay for this god awful. It's probably not even god awful. There's probably some other good shit on this streaming service. I'll have to look.